My name is Roger Taft. I'm with Atomic Age Artifacts, Antique and Collectible Mall in downtown Wildwood, Florida. We're right next to City Hall, right off the park. We're an antique and collectible mall that focuses on pop culture and mid-century collectibles rather than true antiques. You can start the slideshow. I've been in and out of the business for years. The last place I worked was Wildwood Antique Mall, which is just about 2 blocks away from my current location, and I had managed that for the last year and a half that I was there, and got to see firsthand what antiques were not selling, and so I started focusing on pop culture and mid-century because that was what people were actively buying at the time. Next slide. So we ended up at a location just next to City Hall, about 2 blocks away from Wildwood Antique Mall. Next slide. And my first store was, like I said, I've been in this business for a long time. My first store was in Laramie, Wyoming. It was a comic shop from 1991 to 1993. And that was 1 Million Comics. It was a franchise. We focused on primarily comics, but also collectibles in general. Next slide. After that, we moved to, through several moves. Eventually, I ended up in Winchester, Kentucky. In 2005 to 2007, I opened Captain Cosmos Collectibles. And that was just collectibles in general. We did have comics and other things, but it was more of a toy store, just pop culture as a general theme. Next slide. Eventually that one just didn't survive. It wasn't a good place for it. And we moved to Florida with the intention of liquidating and moving into other businesses. I ended up getting a booth at a Wildwood Antique Mall here in Ocala. That did better than the store in Kentucky, as it turned out, with just 100 square feet rather than a full store. So I stayed in the business, eventually ended up working for Wildwood Antique Mall, and saw where things were going and decided that it was better to open my own store again and go back to pop culture. Within the store, we have a wide variety of items. Mid-century is predominantly reflected in furniture and dishware and artwork, that sort of thing. We do a lot of Fiesta ware, a lot of Pyrex dishes, Federal dishes, glass bake, just general knickknacks and dishware from that era, generally from 1960 to 1980 or so. We do go back to the 1940s and up to today. I should define atomic age, because a lot of people ask about that. Mid-century is really the 40s through the 70s, and atomic age is 1943 to 1973. So it's basically the same time period, reflects the same era. The same era of nostalgia, the same patriotism, the same feelings of I'm sorry, I lost track. The same feelings of nostalgia that I want to reflect in the store. So next slide. Given that, toys are a big part of nostalgia, and the 80s were a massive time for toys and pop culture. And all the children that grew up in the 80s are now trying to buy back their childhood. And that's the pop culture icons of that era were G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Transformers, He-Man, and several others. We deal with all those, and that's what we focus on. That's what makes us the most profit, and that's what we are generally moving towards. I guess that's it for now. It's Atomic Age Artifacts, Antiques and Collectible Mall in Wildwood, Florida. So, and that's us.